Today, we're going to tackle a subject that so many of us deal with but almost never talk about: how to get back in the driver's seat when it comes to technology. Now, this isn't some technical manual full of jargon. Think of it as a guide to getting your confidence back, protecting your independence, and, maybe most importantly, making sure our family relationships stay strong in this digital world. So, let's get started. Does this sound familiar? That moment you ask a perfectly reasonable question and you get that sigh, that look of impatience. And in that 1 second, you might feel a little bit of shame and they're feeling frustrated. If you've been there, I really want you to hear two things. First, you are absolutely not alone. And second, this is not your fault. What you're feeling isn't a personal failure. It's actually a known social dynamic that has a name. So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start by putting a name to this hidden conflict and figure out where it comes from. Then, we'll look at why these little teaching moments can get so heated. After that, we'll shift gears and get into the solution, which involves a big change in mindset and a really practical set of rules. We'll even talk about the secret strengths your brain already has for this. And we'll wrap it all up with a simple challenge to get you started. Okay, first things first, we have to give this invisible struggle a name. And that's a really important step. You see, when you can name a problem, it stops being about you. It's no longer some failing on your part. It becomes an external thing, a situation that we can look at, understand, and actually solve. The problem we're naming is called the Expert Blindness Gap. It sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. For our kids and grandkids who are digital natives, using technology is like breathing. They've always had it. And because of that, they literally can't remember what it was like to not know this stuff. They can't imagine what it feels like to not instinctively know what every little icon means. So the real problem isn't their lack of patience or your lack of ability, it's just this massive gap in lived experience. I really want you to let this sink in. That feeling of frustration, it is not a sign that you're slow or behind the times. It's a completely predictable clash between two different ways of thinking. Your brain has spent a lifetime looking for logic, for rules, for a clear map. Their brain, on the other hand, just runs on autopilot and muscle memory. They forgot the map even exists. You're basically speaking two different languages. And that tension you feel, it's just a bad translation. So now that we've named the problem, let's dig a little deeper into why it happens. To really get why these teaching moments go sideways, we need to understand that there are two totally different mindsets crashing into each other every time you ask for help. This really gets to the core of it. Many of us grew up in a world of what you could call procedural stability. Think about a typewriter. The rules were set in stone, you learned them once, and you were good to go for years. But younger generations live in a world of iterative fluidity. They just expect things to change constantly. For them, learning is all about just poking around and experimenting until they figure it out. So when you ask for a clear, stable set of instructions, it just doesn't compute with their entire life experience. And then there's another layer to this, a little quirk of the human brain called the curse of knowledge. This is why a perfectly kind and patient person can be an absolutely terrible teacher. See, once you know something really, really well, it becomes almost impossible to imagine what it was like not to know it. They can't break down the steps for you, because to them, it's just one smooth, obvious action. So their impatience isn't mean-spirited. Their brain is just literally wired in a way that can't see the little steps you need. And all of this is why these little tech moments can feel so incredibly personal. You know, a software update doesn't just feel like an inconvenience. It feels like a digital ambush that suddenly cuts you off from your banking or your friends. And in these moments, it's the relationship that matters, not just getting the task done. So when help is given with a sigh, it feels like more than bad teaching. It feels like instructional disrespect. And maybe most importantly, it flips the whole family power dynamic upside down. The person you raised and taught everything to now holds all the cards. And that uncomfortable shift is where the real emotional pain comes from. Okay, that brings us to the turning point. We've looked at the problem, we understand where it comes from. Now it is time to talk about the solution. And it all starts not with a piece of technology, but with a really simple but powerful shift in your own mind. You're going to stop being the passive student and become the project manager. The very first step is just making a decision. You decide right now that this pattern ends. No more just handing your phone over and watching someone's thumb fly across the screen in a blur. That passive role, that's where the feeling of helplessness comes from. It's time to just draw a line and take back that control. And in its place, you're going to step into a new role, the instructional lead. From now on, you're the manager of your own training session. You set the pace. You decide what you want to learn. You are the one who says when the lesson is a success. This isn't about being stubborn. It's just about taking ownership of how you learn best. And this all leads to a really important idea we're going to call instructional sovereignty. This is your basic right to decide exactly how you're taught. It's your right to go at a pace that works for you, to ask for explanations that actually make sense, and to use the methods that have always worked for you, like writing things down. You are not asking for a favor here. You're setting a healthy boundary that protects your confidence and keeps the peace in the family. Now, this quote, this is the magic key. I want you to burn this into your brain. The next time you feel like you're being a burden, you're going to flip the script in your head. You're not a needy student begging for help. You are a manager, politely but firmly auditing their expertise. You're testing their ability to explain something clearly. Just changing those words in your mind changes the entire power dynamic. So once you have this new mindset, how do you actually put it into practice? We need to go from theory to action. And that's where the hands-off teaching protocol comes in. It's just a simple set of rules for any time you ask for help with tech from now on. The protocol has 4 simple rules. Rule number 1, and this one is the most important, it's non-negotiable, the hands behind back rule. The person teaching you is not allowed to touch your phone or your computer, period. You are the only one doing the work. Second, the why demand. Before you tap on anything, you pause and ask, okay, why am I pressing this? What does it do? This makes them actually explain it. Third, the analog bridge. Get a notebook and write the steps down in your own words. And finally, number 4, the third-party buffer. Look, if learning from a specific family member is just too stressful, it's okay to fire them as your teacher. The goal is to learn without conflict. Maybe hire a local student or find a class. And these rules aren't just random. They're actually based on how our brains learn. The hands behind back rule uses what's called kinesthetic learning. You learn by doing, which creates muscle memory and makes things stick. Asking why builds a mental map of how the system works, so you're not just memorizing. Writing things down gives you a physical, analog anchor, a reliable cheat sheet in a world where menus are always changing. And a neutral teacher? Well, that just creates emotional safety, which is absolutely essential for real learning to happen. I want to be really clear about this. These are not just little tech tips. Think of them as your identity defense systems. They are well-designed boundaries that are there to protect your independence, your confidence, and the respect that you've earned over a lifetime. They are the tools that guarantee you learn on your own terms. Now, before we finish up, I want to talk about the feeling behind all of this, because it's really easy to feel like struggling with technology is some kind of personal weakness. But I want to give you a totally different way to look at it. I want you to see that this struggle is actually proof of a deep, hidden strength you possess. Your struggle isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's a sign of your brain's structural integrity. Think about it. For decades, you have built a mind that runs on logic, on reason, on things making sense. So when your brain pushes back against a confusing app or a nonsensical menu, it's not failing you. It's doing its job perfectly. It's just holding the digital world to the same high standard of quality it expects from everything else. Just take a second and think about your own life. Think of all the massive technological changes you've already lived through and mastered. You went from rotary phones to push button to the smartphone in your hand, from 3 channels on TV to the entire internet, from writing letters to sending emails. You're not new to this. You are a master of adaptation. Your entire life proves you have an incredible ability to learn and evolve. So let's keep it all in perspective. The wisdom you've gathered, the life you've built, the experiences you've had, that is your legacy. That's the real deal. Learning a new app, it's just a tool. It's a temporary little task that has zero to do with how smart you are or what you're worth. So trust the logical, step-by-step way of learning that has served you so well for your entire life. Okay, we've gone through the problem, we've got a new mindset, we have a practical set of rules and a new perspective. Now it's time to actually do something. It's time to take all this and put it to work with a very simple challenge that's all about putting you back in control. So here's your challenge. In the next 24 hours, I want you to pick one, just one, specific tech task that you want to master. Don't pick something huge like learn my phone. Pick something small and useful, like learning how to share a photo with a specific person, or how to look up a recipe, or how to start a video call. Just one small thing that will make your day a little bit better. And then, when you ask for help with that one thing, you are going to calmly and confidently state the first rule of our protocol. You can just say something like, hey, I'd love your help with this, and just so I really learn it, I need you to talk me through it, but please don't touch the phone. I need to be the one to do all the tapping. That simple sentence, that is the first, biggest step to getting your digital sovereignty back. Because in the end, this was never really about the technology, was it? It's about making sure that you stay in command of your own life. So remember, their impatience, it's a technical glitch in their teaching, not a defect in your brain. By putting that hands-off rule into place, you're performing a huge act of self-respect. So, command the process, protect the bond, and keep leading your life with the wisdom and logic that you've always had.